Oh, was that Boa Hancock? Oh, so her name is Boa Hancock. Music, yeah. I can't wait for the full opening, baby. But it's kind of like, oh, like a maid fighter there? Oh, we're gonna go back later, look at the course. Okay, like Faust! Suddenly I got like funny Faust up here. It's the Faust guy. Yeah, this is like a maid woman, and she's punching this guy, this muscular beef guy with like a paper bag on his head. This is clearly the scene. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. But yeah, let's review it. Hello everyone, time course from Jujutsu Kaisen. It's got an opening reaction, a little bit, yeah. So they used published on second PV, right? PV2, season 2. But also, it's called the opening, right? So they actually have the opening song. This is not probably the real opening, of course, but it's kind of like, you know, half the opening, a little bit of scene strikes, and like that. So please subscribe, slap it, and let's talk about it. Let me just first address the Mappa stage then, very briefly here. So I just watched the whole, you know, here's the Mappa thing. I haven't seen the trailer yet, of course, but I just watched generally the Mappa interviews and so on, right? For example, I4Us is there, so right? Talking about Chainsaw Man, talking about the Titan and so on, right? And honestly, I think briefly, didn't show that much. There was a lot of cute chainsaw stuff, you know. There's like a guy in a Pochita costume and like a full-on costume. Bunch of, you know, a lot of mercs and so on, right? Didn't really disclose anything else, I would say, that I could see. Attack on Titan, they just showed this like one panel of a bird. Literally. They know what they're doing, they're like memeing it. It was like a cottage and one bird. That, honestly, not the shit to Attack on Titan here, generally speaking, but like that visual was pretty meh. Oh, am I the only one? Am I the only one? I think half the internet is like, oh my god, Attack on Titan visuals. Like, it's a house and a bird, okay? There's nothing much there. There's like nothing there. It's completely, I mean, I read the manga, it's not even not that relevant. Like the bird is but you know what I mean? I don't know, okay? I don't really care that much, honestly, but I feel like, I just think it's funny to see people on Twitter being like, oh my god, the best visual ever. I'm just like, it's a cottage. Anyway, let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen though, which I of course love. I watched TV on that, right? And that's what the main video is about. Of course, we're gonna look at the new trailer opening and of course review it and so on. So let's start. Because here we go. I probably have to cut away some of the music and so on. Go copyright tonight, but we're gonna show a little sound, but you know how it is. Mappa. But Mappa usually is pretty good, honestly. Mappa, great company, but also pretty good for us YouTubers. Very rarely has people promote Mappa though, but it's a little bit when you play the full song, you know. But yeah, it's back to this scene before, the new lady and so on. Back of course when young God your Kern! Oh, was that Boa Hancock? Oh, so her name is Boa Hancock, yeah, the voice actor Boa Hancock. It's doing her. Music, yeah. I can't wait for the full opening, baby. But it's kind of like, oh, like a maid fighter there? Oh, we're gonna go back later, look at the course. Okay, like Faust! Suddenly I got like funny Faust up here. Oh, that's what they do. Summon into kind of weird dragon ghoul thingy. Alright, so he's fighting the Faust guy. That's what we saw in the last trailer. He's like saving her in the building there, but that's I guess Faust then, okay. Now I'm referring to Faust. I'll explain it later. Some people don't talk about. Oh, there we go! There he is, baby, there he is! The pretty boy. Sounds like a pretty good song, but yeah, it is what I expected, right? Oh, he's a little more after her. Oh, it's just like rain. His face that is raining. Okay. The date there. So that's 6th of June, yeah. So it's about like, what? 6 weeks left on that. But yeah, let's review it. I'll say it immediately. This is the best scene, guys. This is the best scene where the maid fights the Faust guy. Yeah, this is like a maid woman, and she's punching this guy, this muscular beef guy with like a paper bag on his head. This is clearly the scene. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. But yeah, let's review it. So let's first off with this scene here, right? You know, I don't think I've seen the maid before. I guess she's a new character, right? And she's fighting like a broom or something, yeah. And this guy here with the paper bag, right? He seems to be clearly like the main bad guy of this arc, or at least the first bad guy, the antagonist. But he's another guy too, of course. But I don't think we saw this guy at all in the first trailer, right? And I might be honest, I don't know what's the case, right? No, I don't remember seeing his, well, I shouldn't say face, I suppose, but you know what I mean. Seeing his paper bag, right? Maybe we saw him in the background, but we didn't like see his. I have no memory of, you know, at least seeing like a paper bag guy, so to speak. Let's take another scene here. We see it here, I don't know. Here comes Gojo saves a girl and so on, which seems to be the main plot thread of this arc. protecting her, and I guess then from evil paperback guy. That being said, you heard me earlier, right? I call him Faust, right? Because and actually I think a pretty similar game to Jujutsu Kaisen, right? One of my favorite games of all time. Guilty Gear, of course. I'm a huge Guilty Gear fan. So I think some people saying, "Oh, Faust," yeah, they probably get what I mean, right? In Guilty Gear, you have this doctor, and he's called Faust, of course, based on Johannes Faust or whatever. And yeah, that guy got a huge paper bag over his head, and he fights with like a scalpel and so on. It looks really similar to him because he also has white and similar. Yeah, the color scheme is similar. It also is a big, tall guy, so he genuinely looks a lot like Faust. This guy with the bag on his face. Yeah, he looks tremendously a lot like Faust from Guilty Gear. He might be inspired from that, I don't know, but the author was like, this is a cool guy. Yeah, I don't know, he looks a lot like him. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's inspired by it, but he looks accessible. But anyway, yeah, actually, if you haven't played Guilty Gear, it's very, I love Guilty Gear. It's a very anime game, right? But anyway, yeah, this guy is, I guess, it's clearly there. Really cute. I like seeing the other characters, right? Yeah, because I mean, season 1, of course, they are all the MILF, the sensei, a TILF, I guess. And correct me if I'm wrong here, right? But she is voiced by Bo Hancock and One Piece one. I believe so. And she's also like, what is she more? Sailor Moon, something like that? I like this thing too, this thing appears. Yeah, but I guess this is before it's evil, right? So, but I think this thing, I think, is on their side, right? Again, I'm an anime only here, but I'm assuming he's summoning it, and this is before he's changed side, and he's like, me and God, your besties, at this time, right? So I think he's like summoning him to, fight with God or help me. I think so, right? Probably. This looks really hideous, but I think it is like he's summoning it to help the good guys. I think so. I might be wrong. I mean, but I think that is like, I'm helping you guys. Gold dragon thing. I guess. Yeah, it looks to me like a dragon, right? Like some kind of, zombie dragon or ghost dragon or whatever. Yeah, probably. Like some kind of something like that. But I think it's on the good side, And then lastly, let's talk about the song, right? We get a little bit of song. It is what I expected. There's a good trailer. But it definitely is what I expected. It is the same thing with Vinland Saga, I think last year, when they kind of play, when they play this, like, you hear half the song, right? And even though we can now go and, of course, Google and actually listen to probably the song, right? To me, I tend to like, if I know the artist is going to play the song, right? Because you've seen much happened before, if you see much happened before, my favorite thing, right, is, I keep saying it every time, my favorite thing is opening reactions, right? Opening reaction reviews, because an opening tells you so much, right, of an anime. Sometimes, I remember when I was back in college, one of my best friends, my senpai, literally, the guy that got me into certain stuff. That's how it be. No, but I started college, right? And I had this senpai, 2 years older than me. And of course, there was some gaming and anime and so on in college, right? You meet people. He was the chairman of like the video game fraternity and so on. So this guy's older than me, and he of course knew some animes, right, that I hadn't heard about. So he's one of the guys that got me into certain shows. Like, oh, this show, he's like a little older. He's like 2 years older than me, knows more stuff. Another friend that I started college with the same week. He was the guy that showed me Akagi and Kadi and so on. Can never take it enough for that. Yeah, another friend. Also joined in this gaming fraternity and so on at the same time. Then yeah, he was the guy that was like, have you ever heard about this like board game anime? It's like cheating anime, it's gambling anime. I was like, huh, Akagi? So that got me into Mahjong, and that's a life story now. But we started playing Mahjong competitive so on. Yeah, he got me into playing Mahjong for money and so on. But anyway, I digress. Life story over. My point is that my friend and my senpai in this club, he always told me that you always know if an anime is good on its opening or not. I would say always, but I think yeah, because sometimes you can watch an anime opening, right? And you can just look at like, oh, I like the design of these characters. I like how they're visualizing this fight, or I like how the main character is portrayed in the opening. And also the opening tells us so much, right? So I am really excited to see the full opening. Of course, Eve's first opening is one of the best openings, I think, still right in history. Jujutsu Kaisen opening 1 is amazing. Opening 2, I think, is definitely not as good at all. It's not a bad opening per se, but I think the first opening is really good right there. The first opening is one of my all-time favorite openings. I love it's my top 10, but it's my because I've seen like every anime ever, every opening ever. Like I'm the guy, like I've seen so many animes. But also there are a few animes that I've never seen them, but I've only seen the opening. So I know this anime, I've seen the opening 50 times, you know what I mean? You see my opening playlist. I like this song. But anyway, yeah, the song, what we got for the song was good, but I definitely forward to having the full song. And my long point was that I don't like to go and listen to the song, right? Even though I know who is the artist, I want to wait to experience the full opening, you know. I know some people go and listen to the song before, right? But I tend to be like, no, let's wait for the actual full thing. But anyway, it was a long video. I was like, let me tell you about my senpai. But it's a good point. He was the one who told me that. And he looked at, and he showed me a bunch of animes, right, I haven't seen yet. And he was like, which one do you think is a good anime? And basically, because I'm into it, I could guess like, basically every anime that's a good anime, I could guess it correctly on the opening alone, right? Which is, yeah, I think it's very, very common. That you see anime, so like, okay, the opening is this telling. It tells me so much, you know, most of the time. And that's also why I suppose it's the last point I'll say that I like when openings, like Jujutsu Kaisen, right? There's also one that openings are good for opening. Because first opening tricks you, right? It thinks you that the guy is gonna survive. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, look at this friendship bit, you know. That's great too. Right? I love when the opening also has some storyline, you know. The opening shouldn't be spoilery, like super spoilery. That's bad, of course. But the opening should have a little bit, you know, foreshadowing. Yeah, the opening should like, tease you. Oh, look at this guy. He might be a new friend of the main character. Oh, he died, you know. You know what I mean? That also is why the opening is so good, because you're like, oh, look at that guy. He's gonna be one of our friends, Nakama. Nakama. You know what I'm talking about. And I think doesn't have a great day.